In the early hours of February 25, 2005, a routine traffic stop in Park City, Kansas, unraveled a chilling secret that had haunted Wichita for over 3 decades. Dennis Rader, a 60-year-old man driving a white Jeep Cherokee, was surrounded by police vehicles on a quiet suburban street. He stepped out calmly, offering no resistance as officers placed him in handcuffs. To the unsuspecting residents of this close-knit community, Rader was a familiar figure, a church leader, a compliance officer, a devoted husband and father. But that morning, the facade crumbled, revealing him as BTK, the bind, torture, kill predator, who had terrorized Wichita with 10 meticulously planned murders. His arrest exposed a double life so expertly crafted that even those closest to him, his wife, children, and neighbors, had no inkling of the monster lurking beneath his ordinary exterior. Dennis Lynn Rader was born on March 9, 1945, in Pittsburgh, Kansas, the eldest of 4 sons in a seemingly unremarkable Midwestern family. His father, William, a World War II Marine Corps veteran, worked for Kansas Gas and Electric, providing a stable income for the family. His mother, Dorothea, was a homemaker who instilled Lutheran values, ensuring the family attended Christ Lutheran Church regularly. Young Dennis participated in Boy Scouts, attended Riverview Elementary School, and appeared to embody the wholesome image of small-town America. Yet beneath this veneer of normalcy, a disturbing darkness was taking root. As early as age 10, Rader later admitted to torturing stray animals, a behavior criminologists recognize as a red flag for psychopathy. His childhood fantasies revolved around bondage, control, and domination, fixating on images of damsels in distress and the allure of villainy. These were not fleeting curiosities, but the foundation of a twisted psyche that would later claim 10 lives. Dr. Catherine Ramsland, a forensic psychologist who corresponded with Rader extensively after his arrest, noted that such early behaviors often indicate a profound psychological fracture. While no single traumatic event can be pinpointed as the trigger for his deviance, Rader's fixation on domination, evident in his obsession with damsels in distress and black hat villainy, suggested a mind fundamentally different from his peers. While other children played baseball or formed friendships, Rader retreated into a secret world of violent fantasies, sketching scenes of torture and imagining himself as a dark anti-hero. These early signs, overlooked by those around him, were the precursors to the horrors he would unleash as an adult. Rader's ability to maintain a dual existence was extraordinary. In the 1960s, he enlisted in the U.S. Air Force, serving at bases in Texas, Alabama, and Japan. The rigid structure of military life did little to suppress his growing compulsions. Instead, it provided a framework for discipline that he would later apply to his crimes. Returning to Wichita in 1970, he married Paula Dietz on May 22, 1971, a union that produced 2 children, Carrie, born St. in 1978, and Brian, born 1982. To the outside world, Rader was a model citizen pursuing the American dream. He enrolled at Butler Community College in El Dorado, earning an associate degree in electronics in 1973, and later graduated from Wichita State University in 1979 with a bachelor's degree in administration of justice. The irony was profound. Rader was studying the very criminal justice system designed to apprehend predators like himself, learning investigative techniques, forensic methods, and behavioral profiling that would help him evade capture. Professionally, Rader gravitated toward roles that granted him authority and access to potential victims. From 1974 to 1988, he worked for ADT Security Services, installing alarm systems in Wichita homes, Many clients, gripped by fear of the elusive BTK, unknowingly invited their tormentor into their homes, where he memorized layouts, noted routines, and assessed vulnerabilities. This access was a predator's dream, allowing him to blend professional duties with his sinister reconnaissance. In 1991, Rader transitioned to a role as a compliance officer in Park City, a position that fed his need for control. Armed with a measuring tape and a clipboard, he enforced minor ordinances with relentless precision, citing residents for grass a fraction too tall or trash cans improperly stored. Neighbors described him as petty and authoritarian, unaware that this obsession with rules mirrored the meticulous planning of his murders. Rader's involvement in Christ Lutheran Church provided another layer of deception. As a deacon and a later congregation president, he led prayers, organized youth events, and earned the trust of parishioners. He taught Sunday school, participated in community outreach, and presented himself as a devout Christian. Yet this pious exterior masked a mind consumed by violent fantasies. Dr. Robert Mendoza, a forensic psychologist who evaluated Rader post-arrest, described him as a textbook psychopath, charming, manipulative, and utterly devoid of empathy. His ability to compartmentalize was staggering, allowing him to switch effortlessly between the roles of church leader, family man, and cold-blooded killer. This duality was not accidental, but a carefully constructed shield, enabling him to hide in plain sight for decades. On January 15, 1974, Wichita's sense of security was shattered. The Otero family, Joseph Sr., 38, a retired Air Force veteran, Julie, 33, a devoted mother, and their children, Joseph Jr., 9, and Josephine, 11, became Rader's first known victims. For weeks he had stalked them, drawn to Julie and Josephine's exotic appearance, as he later described their Hispanic features. Armed with a hit kit containing ropes, knives, a gun, plastic bags, and burglary tools, Rader cut the family's phone lines, scaled their backyard fence, and entered their home at 8:20 a.m. What followed was a meticulously orchestrated nightmare. Holding the family at gunpoint, he bound each member with cords, showcasing knot-tying skills honed through years of practice. He strangled Joseph Sr., Julie, and Joseph Jr., but reserved a special cruelty for Josephine, hanging her in the basement in a ritualistic display of control. The crime scene revealed no sexual assault, but traces of semen, indicating Rader's gratification stemmed from domination rather than conventional sexual motives. The Otero murders established the chilling template for BTK's reign of terror. Rader's methodical approach, studying knot-tying manuals, researching entry techniques, and selecting vulnerable targets, reflected a predator who had spent years refining his fantasies. The surviving Otero children, returning home that afternoon, discovered a scene that would haunt them for life. The bodies, carefully positioned, spoke to a killer who relished control even after death. Wichita was gripped by panic, realizing this was no random crime but the work of a calculated predator. The randomness of the attack, combined with its brutal efficiency, instilled a fear that would linger for decades. Rader's killing spree continued with unrelenting precision. In April 1974, he targeted Catherine Bright, a 21-year-old employee at the Coleman Company, where Joseph Otero had also worked. Expecting her alone, Rader was startled when her brother Kevin accompanied her home. A violent struggle ensued. Rader shot Kevin twice, but Kevin miraculously escaped, stumbling into the street to seek help. Alone with Catherine, Rader bound, tortured, and stabbed her to death, his methodical nature giving way to chaos in the face of resistance. In March 1977, he struck again, targeting Shirley Vian, a 26-year-old mother of 3. Forcing his way into her home, He locked her children in a bathroom, compelling them to listen as he bound, tortured, and strangled their mother. The psychological scars left on the children were as profound as the physical violence inflicted on Shirley. By December 1977, Rader's need for recognition escalated. He killed Nancy Fox, a 25-year-old woman living alone, strangling her in her home with chilling precision. Afterward, he called police from a payphone, reporting the crime in a flat, emotionless voice. "You will find a homicide at 843 South Pershing, Nancy Fox." This audacious act was not just a taunt, but a declaration of his perceived invincibility. In January 1978, he sent a letter to Cake TV, introducing his moniker. "The code words for me will be bind them, torture them, kill them, BTK." Complaining about inadequate media coverage, he wrote, "How many do I have to kill before I get a name in the paper or some national attention?" Comparing himself to infamous killers like Jack the Ripper and David Berkowitz, he attributed his urges to Factor X, a fictional force he claimed drove other serial killers. Psychologists later dismissed this as a self-serving narrative to deflect responsibility for his deliberate choices. After Nancy Fox's murder, BTK seemed to vanish. From 1977 to 1985, Wichita experienced an uneasy reprieve, wondering if the killer had died, been imprisoned, or simply stopped. In reality, Rader had not disappeared. He had adapted. Family obligations, raising Carrie and Brian, and a demanding career at ADT limited his opportunities to kill. Instead, he channeled his urges into projects, elaborate rituals involving stolen items from victims, magazine clippings, and dolls posed in bondage scenarios. He would photograph these setups, creating montages to relive his crimes and plan future ones. Driving through neighborhoods at night, he trolled for potential victims, sketching detailed attack plans he rarely executed. These rituals served as a pressure valve, allowing him to delay his compulsions without abandoning them. Rader's professional life provided the perfect cover. At ADT, he installed security systems for clients terrified of BTK, gaining intimate knowledge of their homes. He noted which houses had single occupants, which had dogs, and which had weak entry points, building a mental database of potential targets. His role as a compliance officer in Park City further fed his need for control. Known for his rigid enforcement of ordinances, he earned a reputation as a petty tyrant, issuing citations for minor infractions with a zeal that unnerved residents. This legal outlet for his dominance allowed him to exert power over others without crossing into murder, at least temporarily. His church life offered another layer of camouflage. As a leader at Christ's Lutheran Church, Rader was a trusted figure, organizing youth camps and reading scripture during services. Parents entrusted their children to him during Boy Scout outings, where he taught knot tying and led camping trips. Yet even here, subtle signs of his true nature emerged. Fellow Scout leaders noted his obsession with discipline, his overly strict demeanor, and occasional inappropriate comments that raised eyebrows but never serious suspicion. To his congregation, he was a pillar of faith. In his mind, he was the predator biding his time. In 1985, Rader's dormancy ended with the murder of Maureen Hedge, a 53-year-old neighbor living just blocks from his home. In a grotesque act, he strangled her in her bedroom, then transported her body to Christ Lutheran Church, where he photographed it in bondage poses. This desecration of his sacred space revealed the depths of his depravity, merging his public and private personas in a chilling act of defiance. In 1986, he killed Vicki Wegerl, a 28-year-old mother, posing as a telephone repairman to gain entry to her home. He strangled her while her children were at school, taking her driver's license as a trophy. In 1991, he struck again, targeting Dolores Davis, a 62-year-old grandmother. Binding her with pantyhose, he strangled her and posed her body under a bridge, adding her personal items to his collection of souvenirs. These murders, spaced years apart, demonstrated Rader's rare ability to control his urges, a trait uncommon among serial killers. His stable family life, a demanding job, and church responsibilities provided structure, while his projects satisfied his dark impulses. He later claimed to have planned an 11th murder in 2004, targeting a woman, but aborting the plan due to unexpected construction workers nearby. This restraint, coupled with his ability to blend into society, made him an exceptionally elusive predator. The turning point came in 2004, when a Wichita Eagle article commemorating the 30th anniversary of the Otero murders speculated that BTK was dead or imprisoned. For Rader, whose identity was inseparable from his BTK persona, this dismissal was intolerable. His narcissism demanded recognition, and the suggestion that his legacy was fading provoked a response. In March 2004, he sent a letter to the Eagle containing Vicki Wegerles' driver's license and photographs of her body, items only the killer could possess. Signed with his BTK symbol, the letter reignited the investigation, thrusting Wichita back into a state of fear. Over the next year, Rader engaged in a brazen campaign of communication, sending cereal boxes, a macabre nod to serial killer, filled with crime scene photos, dolls posed to mimic his victims, and detailed accounts of his murders. Each package was a performance, showcasing his perceived superiority over law enforcement. He included drawings of his crimes, such as a chilling depiction of Josephine Otero's hanging, complete with annotations about ligature marks. His letters demanded media attention, complained about being overshadowed by other killers, and revealed a deep-seated need for infamy. In one communication, he asked police to acknowledge his messages through newspaper ads, treating the investigation as a personal chess game. Led by Lieutenant Ken Landwehr, the BTK task force saw an opportunity in Rader's arrogance. They responded to his communications through carefully crafted media statements, keeping him engaged while analyzing every piece of evidence. Forensic psychologists, including Dr. Ramsland, noted that Rader's need for recognition was his Achilles heel. His letters, while meticulous, revealed patterns, his obsession with control, his theatrical flair, and his belief that he was untouchable. The task force employed advanced forensic techniques, including behavioral analysis and digital forensics, to narrow their focus. In January 2005, Rader made a fatal error. In a letter, he asked if a floppy disk could be traced back to him. Sensing a trap, the police responded through a classified ad in the Wichita Eagle, falsely assuring him that such a disk was untraceable. Believing he was safe, Rader sent a purple floppy disk to KSAS-TV containing a document titled Test A. Can you hear me now? Forensic analyst Randy Stone examined the disk's metadata, uncovering that it was created by Dennis at Christ Lutheran Church. A quick search confirmed Rader's role as church president, linking him to the crime. To solidify their case, investigators needed DNA evidence, learning that Rader's daughter, Carrie, had recently undergone a medical procedure. They obtained her DNA sample ethically from hospital records. Comparing it to semen found at the 1974 Otero crime scene, preserved for over 30 years, they confirmed a familial match. On February 25, 2005, Rader was arrested during a routine drive home. His calm demeanor suggested he had anticipated this moment, perhaps even orchestrated it through his reckless communications. In the interrogation room, Rader's facade unraveled. He confessed with chilling detachment, correcting police inaccuracies and describing his crimes as projects. He detailed his stalking methods, his use of hit kits, and his ritualistic photography of victims. Showing no remorse, he spoke of his murders as achievements, revealing a psyche devoid of empathy. Dr. Mendoza's evaluation confirmed classic psychopathic traits: grandiosity, manipulativeness, and a complete disconnection from human suffering. Rader's explanation of Factor X as his driving force was dismissed as a self-serving myth to avoid accountability. The legal proceedings were swift. On June 27, 2005, Rader pleaded guilty to 10 counts of first-degree murder, avoiding the death penalty due to Kansas law, which did not apply capital punishment retroactively to his crimes. During sentencing, victims' families confronted him. Their grief and anger met with his blank stare. He offered a hollow apology, focusing on his own perceived suffering rather than his victims' pain. Judge Gregory Waller sentenced him to 10 consecutive life terms, ensuring he would die in El Dorado Correctional Facility. The BTK case revolutionized criminology, underscoring the power of forensic advancements like DNA profiling and metadata analysis. It exposed the terrifying reality of psychopathic compartmentalization, showing how a killer could seamlessly blend into society. Rader's ability to live as a respected community member while harboring monstrous impulses challenged assumptions about evil. Wichita's sense of safety was permanently altered, with home security systems becoming a staple in response to the fear BTK instilled. Rader's confessions provided unprecedented insight into the mind of a serial killer. His writings, both during his active years and from prison, have been studied by experts like Dr. Ramsland to understand psychopathy and narcissistic personality disorder. His case highlighted the dangers of media glorification, as his need for attention drove his communications, feeding a cycle of infamy. The families of his victims, while gaining closure, faced ongoing trauma from the public's fascination with BTK, with documentaries and books reopening old wounds. The investigation's success was a testament to the persistence of law enforcement. The BTK task force, spanning decades, preserved evidence and followed leads long after hope faded. Their use of modern technology, combined with Rader's own arrogance, finally brought him down. The case also raised ethical questions about media coverage and the balance between informing the public and fueling a killer's ego. Rader's study of other serial killers like Ted Bundy and John Wayne Gacy showed how popular culture can influence such predators, learning from their methods and mistakes. Today at 80, Dennis Rader remains in solitary confinement, still seeking attention through letters and interviews. His story is a chilling reminder that evil can wear a familiar face: a neighbor, a churchgoer, a bureaucrat. It underscores the importance of vigilance, the power of forensic science, and the resilience of a community scarred by terror. The legacy of BTK is not the infamy Rader craved, but the memory of his victims: Joseph and Julie Otero, Joseph Jr., Josephine, Catherine Bright, Shirley Vianne, Nancy Fox, Maureen Hedge, Vicki Wegerly, and Dolores Davis, and the determination of those who brought their killer to justice.